Next, we have the Trenton High School Marching Band. Their show is called Magic, and I'm fairly certain that this is going to be another somewhat thematic show. I have part names for the movements. Sleight of Hand is part 1, part 2 is the Magic Show, and part 3 is Magic to Do from Pippin. So we'll see what they decide to do with this. The arranger, Richard Saucedo, is a nationally renowned arranger, a music arranger. Does some great work, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. One of the other things that that is different in different regions is how the bands are classified. And here we have bands in several classes today, and so they compete in those classes within their class. The classes in Michigan are set by the school size. So it really doesn't matter how many people are in the band, it matters by the school size, and that's just a philosophical difference. Many of the classifications across the country are based in the number of musicians, or the number of the entire unit, actually. So this happens to be a much larger band, and looking forward to seeing what they're doing with Richard Saucedo's arrangement of Magic. So let's head to that.
Drum majors Danielle Friedman, Matthew Mays, and Nicole Van Dyne. Is the band ready? Trenton Marching Band, the field is yours for Class B fanfare performance. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trenton High School Marching Band! The Trenton High School Marching Band, the band staff, and Mr. Toroko would like to thank the Trenton Band Booster Organization for your unfailing support and constant effort. Under the direction of Mike Wilco, the Trenton High School Marching Band is composed of 143 members.
So we definitely got a treat with the magic, and there's stuff to talk about there because not only did we have a full-on magic trick on the field, but I think it's interesting to see what that did to our focus. During the magic trick on the second movement, I was focusing quite a bit on what was happening with the drum majors and the swords, and I got to the end of that and I wondered what the band was doing behind there. So it's just kind of an interesting thing that happens when you do finally catch your audience's attention and you have them focused on one thing. A lot of times the other things that are happening may not be noticed as well, which is, if that's your intent, that works just fine. I don't know if you could see it on the video. I wanted to point it out at the end of the first song. The guard was holding a pose for a long time, and they were holding something. They all had top hats, and they all pulled a rabbit out of their hat. So if you didn't get to see that on the video, I wanted to make sure that you knew that's what happened. That was very cute as well. So they did a very good job. I don't think anybody had any doubts that the show was about magic. And when we talk about taking these shows out of the popular music arena, the Journey and the rock, and we had Earth, Wind, and Fire earlier. When we move away from those and into these conceptual shows, it's important that you put everything you need to into it to make sure your audience understands exactly what you're trying to accomplish with the theme. So when we said magic, we had some magical cliches. We had the pulling a rabbit out of your hat. I mean, the entire color guard was dressed all in tuxedos, and there's only a few things they could be. They could be magicians, they could be musicians, they could be maitre d's, but it was very clear as they started to have their other props that they were supposed to be magicians, and that was very, very clearly communicated, and that's the most important thing when you're trying to do a concept, because if you aren't clear about it from the get-go, your audience is going to be struggling with that and might just be thinking, what is this, and be confused and miss some of the cool things that you're doing because you're not clear from the beginning. So that was a very good example of doing that very, very well. Another thing that was so interesting to me about that group, along with being the biggest band we've seen so far, there was a lot of white in that band. And when they're moving around and their feet are going, it's almost mesmerizing. They took advantage of that several times with their drill design. I think it was at the end of the first movement when they had 4 big horizontal lines and they were moving back and forth. And this little effect that we have just with my little fingers is amplified 100 times when you put a bunch of people in white uniforms on the field going opposite directions, contrary motion. In the visual world, we often refer to that as creating buzz, because there's a feeling of discombobulation from the audience member when they start seeing all that movement very quickly like that. And they did that very well. It's something that often is accomplished best when you have a larger group and you can have multiple lines going different directions. And also the uniform color, the white against the green backdrop of the field, really makes that move pop even more. So very good use of all of the resources at the disposal of the drill designer in that they took advantage of the large size and the uniform colors. We talked at the beginning about the drum majors and the different colors. I'm not sure if you noticed, excuse me, but at the end of the magic trick, when one of the drum majors came out from having all the knives stuck in her, she was in a different color uniform, and she had flowers, so she must have grown those flowers in the pot. That was really exciting.